going on, everybody? I want to welcome you back to Knicks Deli, baby.
Knicks Deli edition.
The New York Knicks had a great win last night. We went in there, we talked our talk. Yesterday's video talked about your boy, De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings, talking all the smack he was talking. Last night, we shut that down. The New York Knicks shut that down, and we are here to talk about it. So, before we get into all that, I want to welcome you all to Knicks Deli, baby. Yeah, New York round of applause for Knicks Deli, baby. I'm your host, Shaq, and you already know we are first to many and second to no one when it comes to the news, the team views, and the who's who connected to our New York Knicks. So if you're here for the first time, let me let you know how this works. Knicks Deli, baby, is the only place to eat in town after a New York Knicks victory. So here in Knicks Deli, there's only 4 items on the menu. First, there's the bacon, egg, and cheese. And you can't say the bacon, the egg, and the cheese. You gotta be like bacon, egg, and cheese. And that's when we look at the 3 components of the game. Who are the 3 players that when you put them together, really helped us make this thing pop in terms of a victory? Second on the menu is the dollar slice. Everybody knows New York got the best pizza in the world. And I'm telling you, I lived in Indiana for about 7 years, close to Chicago. They tried to convince me that Chicago had the best pizza. Are you out of your mind? New York got the best pizza in the world, and here at Knicks Deli, it's the dollar slice. So we're going to be like, who's the dollar slice of the game? Who represents stability that helped us get this victory? Next item on the menu is the chopped cheese, baby. And everybody knows that the chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be bussin'. So we're going to talk about who is the person, who is the player, what was the element of the game that was relatively new, but yeah, that thing was bussin'. Okay? Pause. Hey, yo! And then last on the menu, you can't have the chopped cheese. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't get that dollar slice if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And here in Knicks Deli, we call that the quarter water. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Who's the quarter water of the game? What was the player that came in and really injected that energy that we needed within 1 quarter, or maybe a little bit over a period of all 4 quarters, that helped us lock up this victory and get our 3rd straight, baby? All right, so we're going to look at all of that. But first, do me a favor, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button so you know anytime I'm dropping new videos, okay? Now, I want to welcome anybody that's new to the channel. All right, you're at home here. You can't have those people who support you if you ain't got some people who don't also. So I know new viewers to this channel may also be the ops.
We circling the block, we spinning the block.
We circle the block and we spin the block over here in Knicks Deli, right here in the Bronx. But we ain't here for that. We're here for food. Everybody
Knicks
eats
Deli edition.
at Knicks Deli. So I'm gonna feed you too. We all friends here. But if you're returning to the channel and you're my KD community.
Hey, I'm a gangster. I got my puff and my Timbs. I need my bacon, egg, and cheese too. You got the good super fly?
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yo, let me get that bacon.
With the bed? With the bed, you heard? We outside.
You heard?
Welcome back, baby. You know we roll deep here in the KD community. Rock with me. All right, let's jump into this. You know what? We can't jump right into it. Just real quick, I want to take about 4 or 5 seconds, man, and give a shout out, honor the memory of Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? Kobe, you know, and Gigi Bryant and everybody that was on that helicopter. You know, when that crash happened, we want to honor the memory of everybody that was on that helicopter. It definitely was a tragedy. I think sometimes, just having a YouTube channel, is a nice little hobby. It's a nice little escape for things that may happen, like I said, out there in the real world, or even here on these YouTube streets. But, man, I just remember hearing the news of Kobe, passing, and his daughter and everybody on that plane. And man, it was almost feeling like you lost a loved one. And then seeing the impact on people around me, I work, as an educator, and I had students stopping in, almost like they were at a loss for words. It was really an eerie feeling for a long time. So more important to, Kobe's impact on the game and his reach worldwide was just his impact on people. His beliefs, his practices, his philosophies, and the fact that his words matched his actions. So I think it's a lot to be said about that. So the man has definitely impacted the world in a positive way. His legacy is long lasting. And for these few moments, we honor the memory of Kobe Bryant. So we're going to transition into just recapping the game last night. The New York Knicks got a very good victory over the Sacramento Kings last night at MSG. It was a very good win, man. It was good to see the level of balance that the New York Knicks put on the court. When we are operating at full potential, the New York Knicks have the best starting five in the league. Best starting five in the league, hands down. So the Knicks showed up strong last night with a good win over a solid Sacramento Kings team. Like I said, the Knicks definitely have the best starting five in the league with the potential that we've shown. And we're going to talk about that here in Knicks Deli. So who is the bacon, egg, and cheese? What three players really helped us stand out and get this victory last night? And for a change, I'm happy to start out. Who gets the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese, you ask? The bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese goes to our guy, Josh Mother Flippin' Hart. New York round of applause for our guy, Josh Hart. Josh Hart hit another triple-double. The man had 20 points last night. The man had 18 rebounds last night. The man had 11 assists last night. 1 steal, 3 blocks. What doesn't he do? What doesn't he do? Sometimes, we're seeing it in action, and I think Knicks fans, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're waiting for the PSTD to kick in. And while we're doing that, we're losing sight that we're witnessing moments of greatness. We're witnessing moments that 5 years from now, people are going to talk about as historic moments on the path to hopefully a couple of championships that we have in New York. And these are the times, man. And it's tough to actually overlook these type of performances when you have a player like Josh Hart, and he continues to show up and do it. The man was 8 of 14 from field goal last night, 57%. The man's leadership, his hustle, he embodies the spirit of New York. Unquestionably embodies the spirit of New York. Once again, he had his 6th triple-double of the season. Josh Hart just plays out of this world. And it goes to show you not to give up on players. Don't be so quick to give up on players. And a player like Josh Hart, who was a journeyman in essence, going from team to team. And he was part of a trade, not as a throw-in. You knew what you was getting with him. A player that would hustle, a player that would give you energy in spurts. But this goes to show you that there is such thing as the right fit in the NBA. And the man has definitely found the perfect fit here in New York. So he also, and I like to tie it up with this, I love the quote that he had. He had a quote at the end of the game with our guy, Alan Hahn. And basically Alan Hahn was just like, man, listen, you guys really pulled off a phenomenal victory today. What do you attribute that to? And Josh Hart said this quote, man. He said, Tibbs gave us a couple of days off, so we had energy. The minutes police can relax a little bit. So basically, he's looking at the camera and he's telling the New York Knicks fans, relax. Okay? So I love that. So let's give a round of applause for the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli today. Josh Mother Flippin' Hart. Remember
Knicks
where you at.
Daily Edition.
Listen, so who gets the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese today? The egg goes to our guy, OG Anunobi. As every game passes, still, even though we are about halfway, a little bit over the halfway point of the season, the teams are still trying to figure out their rhythm. They're still looking at the intricacies of the playbook as the coaches pour in or add a little bit of a wrinkle the further along they get in the season. The players are still filling each other out and trying to figure out where they can best assert themselves. And what we're starting to see now is OG Anunobi really getting comfortable in asserting himself. And he did so last night. He absolutely asserted himself last night to the tune of 33 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and even a block. And this set the tone for the New York Knicks in this game as they showed the depth of this team. OG Anunobi was super efficient. OG Anunobi was 12 of 18 from field goal percentage. From field goal range. He was 66.7% from field goal. Hyper efficiency. Okay? 4 of 7 from 3-point range. 57%. I can't stress this enough. And yes, he'll forever get strays from me. Your boy RJ Barrett. I continue. Every time I see a shooting performance from 3, especially the corner 3, like this from OG Anunobi, I can't help but think of RJ Barrett hitting the side of the backboard. Every time. So, and he was 5 of 6 from free throw from the free throw line, 83.3%. So the man, if there's one word that you can really use to encapsulate the type of night that OG had, it was efficiency. So with that being said, we're gonna give the New York round of applause, the Funk Master Flex round of applause, OG Anunobi. And lastly, who was the cheese? Who was the last ingredient that really made this the best sandwich of the game? And the cheese has to go to another piece of the Villanova boys. Okay? Our guy, Mikal Bridges. New York round of applause for Mikal Bridges. I'm going to hold off on the Funk Flex bomb to the after. All right? Mikal Bridges once again showed up. In my video kind of previewing the game, I talked about DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan being on the other side as a person who is a resident of Midi City. And I say that Mikal Bridges is like the mayor of Midi City as well, because that mid-range game is a part of the game that those two players are looking to bring back. And they do it at an elite level. So I was curious to see how that would play out for both players during this game. And Mikal Bridges didn't disappoint. The man had 27 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Day after day, his confidence continues to grow as he's playing under these bright lights, all right, and really figuring out his lane and where he can contribute most effectively. The man was 10 of 15 from field goal range at 66.7%, maximum efficiency as well. He was 5 of 7 from the 3-point line. Broken shot. What are you talking about? You remember Shaq the other game? Like when we had that game and they covered it, he was just like, I still don't like the way his shooting motion is. First off, who are you to talk about anybody's shooting motion? The ugliest shot in the NBA history, part of it, he's top 5. You know what I mean? So Shaq is the last person to talk about a shooter's form. Next up, when you call yourself doing your research, which is a quick Google search on the team, the man was discussing a narrative from 2 weeks into the season. This is how you know them ninjas don't know what they're talking about. And they, other than Ernie, he's the only one that does accurate present day research. Shaq and them don't watch games. They try to pull up something and see what they can talk about to make it look like they're doing something. He's not doing anything. All right. But once again, 5 of 7 from 3-point range, 71.4%. He was 2 of 2 from the free throw. Efficiency was bleeding all over this game from all of these players. Midi City, he took it out on the range too last night. And this is exactly what we need from Mikal Bridges. We're going to need him to have moments like these where he shows up in spurts. It gives you the feeling of the San Antonio Spurs. Unfortunately, the New York Knicks, as a Knicks fan, I was on the opposite side of seeing those moments from a Ginobili or seeing those moments from a Tony Parker to accent Big Tim Duncan, or to accent, or Kawhi Leonard to accent those players as well. That's exactly what we need on a run. What it does is it means there's balance on the team and the opponents don't know who to guard. Who you gonna double? If you double one person, you in trouble for another. So like I said, usually around All-Star break, definitely after All-Star break, is when New York Knicks teams under Tom Thibodeau start clicking. And that's exactly what this momentum is starting to look like for our team. So Mikal Bridges was on point with it last night. He had the physical matchup, and I just like his confidence. I like what I'm seeing. You know, he stepped up to the plate with DeMar DeRozan in that matchup, and he knocked it out of the park. So let's give a round of applause, New York round of applause for Mikal Bridges. Yeah. Before I go into the last part of the menu, do me a favor, hit that like button, click that subscribe, hit the notification bell so it alerts you anytime I drop a new video or I go live. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna go live more often, maybe at the second half of the season after the All-Star break. But who gets the dollar slice of the game? The dollar slice of the game will go to our captain,
Knicks Daily Edition,
Jaylen Mother Flippin' Brunson. Round of applause for Jaylen Brunson. Jaylen Brunson had 25 points, 11 assists. He had a steal, he had a rebound. I was definitely looking forward to this game because of all the trash that De'Aaron Fox had talked in the past. If you watched my last video, you saw I highlighted all of those points where it was little jabs. We were wondering where these strays were coming from. We minded our own business way before we had this success. We were really invested in trying to build it up. And New York Knicks fans are more passionate than any other fan base in the league. So when we missed out on the opportunity to draft a LaMelo Ball at the number 3 position because we dropped from number 3 to all the way to number 8, you know, the New York Knicks fans, we were heartbroken. And we could never rest in peace. We could never mourn in peace. We could never emotionally deal with what it is without somebody taking shots at us. And in that moment of vulnerability, this ninja all the way in the state of California is going to run to Twitter and take a shot. Oh, they sick right now. Number 8. Really? Okay. All right. So you know what? He probably was just scared that if we would have got a point guard like LaMelo Ball, we would be torturing him every time we see him. But you know what? We did. We did. We didn't get him from the draft. We got him because we have a good front office who has an eye for talent. And he has part of the bloodline, the DNA of New York in his veins. So Jaylen Brunson, our get back, is the dollar slice at a tone of 25 points once again, 11 assists once again. He had a steal last night, 1 rebound. He was giving De'Aaron Fox buckets last night. Buckets on buckets. The man was 9-17 from the field goal, you know, at 52.9%. He was 4-6 from the 3 at 66.7%. He was 3 of 3 from the free throw line. Once again, your New York Knicks was a testimony of efficiency. That's what we were. And De'Aaron Fox couldn't do nothing with him last night. Captain was doing what he does, keeping the foot on the neck of the haters. That's exactly what he was doing in that point guard matchup last night, De'Aaron Fox. He's now the fastest Knick to reach 5,190 games, passing Bernard King and Melo, who did it in 191 games. What you're looking at your point guard position is greatness. You're looking at a superstar. I said it. I don't care. Round of applause for Jaylen Mother Flippin' Brunson. Yeah. Who gets the chopped cheese? Next up on the menu is the chopped cheese. Chopped cheese relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing is busting. So who was the player of the game last night? Who is worthy enough to get the chopped cheese? And the chopped cheese is going to go to our guy, Karl Anthony Mother Flippin' Towns. Yeah. We got to give it to Big Purr. I got Big Purr with a big purr. Yo. I can't say no more about Karl Anthony Towns, man. Look, big up to Cat, bruh. Big up to Cat. Once again, doesn't always have to be the leading scorer. But you knew he was going to show up in this game, even though he's been having thumb issues. I think he has like a broken bone within his thumb, you know, a chip, a bone spur or something, a bone chip. in his thumb, but the man is showing toughness once again in playing. And tonight he did so to the tune of 18 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. He was 7 of 18, once again, super efficient as well, 38.9%. And he showed up against Domantas Sabonis, who had a triple-double himself. So I was excited. I was happy to see that, Cat did show up against, somebody who is the all-star on the opposite team. And you want that from your players. When there is an opposing team that's going to come in and they got studs on the other side, you want your players. You want to see how you match up, and you want to make sure you remind the ops, there is never an easy win when you come in here. And it's always a little bit of a challenge trying to figure out what the referee's whistle looks like. What the referee whistle is going to look like, because this season really marks the season where, the refs are going to have to figure out what type of whistle you're going to call for Karl Anthony Towns. Because there are so many no calls on this player that Tom Thibodeau is going to have a blast sending complaints to the offices in New York about the way that they're calling the games on Karl Anthony Towns. The man continues to get hacked at the rate that Shaq was getting hacked at. And they're simply not calling it. And what I like about it is that he doesn't really flop. And I think that's another thing. I mean, every player in the NBA has a certain amounts of times that they flop. But if he were to flop at the same rate that LeBron James flops, he would probably get more calls. And I like the fact that he does it. So maybe it's at the detriment of, just not getting calls, and he's getting beaten up in the process. But I like the fact that it's very few times that he flops, but he will complain, but once again, man, he showed up, and he gets the chopped cheese of the game. I don't really want to, drag it out. Chopped cheese of the game, Karl Anthony Towns. Yes. Now, I tell you repeatedly, you can't have the chopped cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. I'm not giving you the bacon, egg, and cheese. If you don't take your behind, past the cat, past the bread, go to the refrigerator, and go get you a quart of water off the game. Who's the quart of water of the game? And the quart of water of today's game here in Knicks Deli.
Knicks Deli edition
is my guy Landry Shamet. Round of applause for Landry Shamet. All right, that's it. Landry Shamet is the quarter water of the game. And yeah, he had 9 points. I could have easily given Precious Achiuwa a quarter water of the game. But I wanted to show some love to our guy Landry Shamet, because if you're asking me, he is the type of player that is going to be integral for us in the playoffs. And his performance last night was a brief appetizer for what we can expect from a player like this. 9 points last night. Very early on, you can clearly see that Landry Shamet is starting to get comfortable, not only with this team and his new teammates, but he's starting to get comfortable in the Garden and with Tibbs' system. So the man came out shooting. He was 3 of 5 from the 3-point range. He had 3 rebounds. He had an assist. Once again, he started to ride the energy of Madison Square Garden last night. And it was great to see. If you go check out my video, I did a video on Landry Shamet himself that talks about what he brings to a team and his ability to shoot that 3-pointer, and the fact that he also has the ability to slash and score off of movement. All right, that's going to be critical. What I loved about last night's game was the level of ball movement that we saw. That's what makes us a dangerous opponent. I don't know if there are many teams left in the NBA right now who, as consistently as we do, move the ball like we do. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And I think if we continue at that rate, the further along we go in the playoffs, players like Landry Shamet is going to be important for us, for him to show up for us in the playoffs, for us to have deep success in the playoffs. So round of applause for Landry Shamet. Now, that's it for the positive part of the menu. But we always keep one more piece of the menu for those people who may think, you're all out of the good stuff, but what else do you have left on the menu? What we have left on the menu is the glizzy of the game.
Hey,
Ayo is right. The Glizzy of the game goes to somebody who says something sideways. So somebody who makes us think about, in this example, somebody who poses a question that makes you think, that's a good question. Let's ponder it, okay? So the Glizzy of the game is going to go to the people who are the answer to the following question. I was on Reddit, and on Reddit there was a user who posed this question. Who is the biggest Knicks hater? I was just like, God damn, my brother. That's a good question. Who is the biggest Knicks hater? Okay. And I like the list that he was able to accumulate. All of the comments that was on his post gave good feedback. So the list that he talked about was, he said the following. He said Shaq, Draymond, De'Aaron Fox, Reggie Miller, Becky Hammond, Pat Riley, Richard Hamilton, Chuck, Gilbert Arenas. I threw in Shumpert. Let's not get it twisted. Don't have me go through the whole explanation. Shumpert's ass is on that list. Paul Pierce, Halabiach, the fallen lollipop in Atlanta, and many more. But those are the players who actually will get the glizzy. Here's the glizzy of the game. Oh yeah. Yeah. Halliburton. Yeah. There you go. Glizzy of the game goes to all the haters. Don't spit that on the carpet. And lastly, through this super fast, I think it's super fast, Knicks Deli here at Knicks Deli after the win.
Knicks Deli edition.
Who's going to get the nah son nah you wildin' moment of the game? And to me, it's simple, it's clear. The person that gets the nah son nah you wildin' moment of the game is your boy, okay? Fat Joe with that pink outfit on. Enough said. All right. So, what are my parting thoughts as I get ready to get off of here, get out of here? Once again, man, congratulations to the New York Knicks fans. I got a team that's worth watching. We actually enjoy these games. Very few times where we have the ulcer coming because of the strain and the stress that we're having on it. It's good to get a win like last night's. But my parting thoughts, there's a couple. First, I like to watch the post game of the opposing team sometimes, especially if we have a really good win, because I like to see how the other team is giving feedback on who we are and how we played. And last night's post game, if anybody was able to catch their head coach's comments about Josh Hart, their head coach is Doug Christie, a former New York Knicks player. You know, I would think we drafted Doug Christie, and obviously I think Tom Thibodeau may have been the coach at that time that we had. Doug Christie riding the bench. But he had good comments on Josh Hart last night. He said, I like him. He's a good player. Tibbs finds those guys. He's going to do something every single time. If you don't get a body on him, he's getting in there and he's getting his hands on the ball. You almost have to play him like Dennis Rodman. Bro, that's a strong comment coming from a player who had a great defensive identity. He had a nice stretch of seasons when he played for the Sacramento Kings. He really established himself as a defensive stopper and contributor in this league. And he's a respectable coach, you know? And but he's a player that played against the Dennis Rodmans of the world. So that is high praise from a former NBA player to Josh Hart. You know, and I love to see that. Josh Hart also, this is also a did you know type of moment. Josh Hart also had as many all-star player votes as Halliburton, Derek White, and Tyler Hero this year. Josh Hart received 18 player votes for all-star voting. 10, he was ranked 10 for play. He was 10 for player ranked among guards, and he was number 11 for fan ranking among guards as well. So really, you know, Josh Hart, man, is continuing to make history and really make his mark on this league right before our very eyes. All right. So the next game we have Memphis. We have the Memphis Grizzlies that are coming in tomorrow night. We have Ja Morant, who's going to be coming into the Garden. I want to shout out my guy, Zach Edey. Shout out my guy, Zach Edey. I used to work at Purdue University when he was in college. He was a freshman at that time. So I want to give him a shout out. I just want to see him have great success. He is a talented big man. He's a throwback in terms of his size and his ability to the 90s. But he has the ability, and I love the way Memphis is using him in their system for today's game. I really think a player like Roy Hibbert could look at Zach Edey and regret how he should have adjusted his game to today's style of play. But Zach Edey is a talent, and I want him to be successful, except against us. So I want him to go for an offer and be completely terrible when he comes to the Garden. But Ja Morant is going to come in and try to have a moment. So we got to be on our P's and Q's. Enjoy this win. We have a good day to enjoy it, but to get it out of our mind and move on to the next one, because we have Ja Morant who's coming in trying to make an example of us tomorrow night. So with that being said, great victory. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. There's no struggle, there's no progress. But also remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. I'm your boy Shaq, and I'm out. Peace.